Phumelela, the horse racing and tote betting operator in 7 of South Africa's 9 provinces.
In addition, it's really transitioned into being kind of like a media company because they bought horse racing television broadcast rights from certain regions in the world and now have the royalties associated with rebroadcasting those in all sorts of countries.
Market cap 1.3 billion rand, price to earnings ratio of 13.4 and a dividend yield of nearly 5% on Phumelela. We'll start with you, Gary, given Paul's aversion to gambling. But I suppose this is, can you stretch to this?
Horse racing. I haven't been to the horse
I
races for a
haven't been to
while.
the track in ages, but yeah, this is now a pure gambling play. It's not just horse racing. I mean, the majority is horse racing, but they've also got betting world underneath that, and as well as a lot of you can do. I think it's called Soccer 10 and a whole lot of other sports betting around it. I mean, an interesting company. I think in the news lately, the biggest headlines have been the spat that it's been having between Teletracks, which is, like Paul says, it's their media arm, which displays the South African horse racing in the bookies and actual bookies who, they've been fighting over how much they should pay for it. I mean, there was that whole debacle about just I think it was 4 days before Christmas. They actually pulled, they were threatening that they were going to pull off all horse racing off the air. I mean, and that's been nasty. And I mean, it's impacted their earnings. That you've seen increasing legal costs, and you've seen revenues under pressure because of it.
From the outset, is this a no-go area for you?
It's a tricky one, but remember, you'll see the share price sentiment looks very good, and part of the reason is that there are some powerful horse owners in the country, like Marcus Jooste, like Brian Cantor, and others who took control of the company, in fact, because they liked the horse racing and they wanted to support the sport, and they felt that the listed entity wasn't getting the respect that it deserves. So there's some moves afoot under the ground, lots of director insider buying by some of those individuals. They also had some assets related to race courses that they were able to sell off that was quite profitable for them. It's a tricky one. I mean, to be honest, there you go, that's not looking too bad. 2014 wasn't too marvelous, but of course it moved from 8 Rand to 20 in the course of 2014. So, or 2013 rather.
Have you been exposed, Gary, at any point?
We haven't. We don't actually trade it. I mean, liquidity is a problem. Like Paul says, it's it's one that isn't in most people's investment universe. I mean, I think it's doing about probably 300,000 rand value per day on average. So it is difficult to get in and out of the stock. And I mean, you'd have to say if you were going to pick up something like Phumelela, I mean, be cautious. If you're going for a bigger position, it will be difficult for you to get out.
Hot or not, Paul, or anything to add before we
Look,
call it?
sports betting sounds like quite a fun area to be in. Vault Bet, Sun International are there as well. There's foreign competition. It's quite hard for the product to be regulated because once you're on the internet, it's hard to control and contain. But certainly sport, soccer and all of that's positive. But yeah, I'm going to go with not hot. Too complicated. I'm probably going to call it wrong, and I'm just going to avoid on account of...
Hot or not?
It's difficult. I'm also, I think with the spat, I think that's pretty much what's pulled the share price down recently. I mean, and it is cheaper than the rest. So, I mean, I'm tempted to take a very speculative punt at it, but I think if you're looking to actually make a nice safe play into a hotel and leisure, this is not the stuff for you. So I'm going to go cold.
And remember, the modus operandi of this game is about long-term investment.